Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today we will discuss a new topic which is popliteal fossa. The popliteal fossa is a diamond-shaped intermuscular space situated at the back of the knee. The fossa is most prominent when the knee joint is flexed. See here in this diagram. This is a diamond-shaped fossa which is in between the muscles of the posterior compartment of thigh and the posterior compartment of leg. Okay, it is behind the knee joint and it is most prominent when the knee joint is flexed. There are many contents which are present in the popliteal fossa. First of all, there are popliteal vessels, that is the popliteal artery and the popliteal vein. Then there is the small saphenous vein which is draining in the popliteal vein. Then there are two nerves. See here in this diagram, there are two nerves which are common peroneal nerve and the tibial nerve. These are the branches of the sciatic nerve. Then there is another nerve which is called as the posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh, and there is the genicular branch of the obturator nerve. Obturator nerve is the nerve of the medial compartment of thigh. Along with all these contents, there is connective tissue and lymph nodes. Again, I will repeat the contents of the popliteal fossa. First of all, there are popliteal vessels, that is the popliteal artery and the popliteal vein, which are seen in this diagram. This is red colored artery and this is the blue colored vein. Then there are two nerves which are the branches of sciatic nerve. One is tibial and one is common peroneal or common fibular nerve. Then there is the posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh and the genicular branch of the obturator nerve, along with the connective tissue and popliteal lymph nodes. Now the boundaries of the popliteal fossa. See here, because it is intermuscular space, so there are muscles around it. Okay, laterally it is bounded above by the biceps femoris muscle. See here, this is the muscle of the posterior compartment of thigh. This is the lateral muscle, biceps femoris. It is bounding laterally and above. Below and laterally there is the lateral head of the gastrocnemius muscle. Gastrocnemius muscle is the calf muscle. Okay, these are the two muscles which are present laterally. One is above and one is below. Okay, below, along with the lateral head of the gastrocnemius, there is plantaris muscle. See here, this is plantaris muscle. On the medial side above, we have two muscles which are named as semimembranosus and semitendinosus muscles. And below we have the medial head of the gastrocnemius. Again, I will repeat, this popliteal fossa is bounded above by two muscles, okay, or above by the muscles of the posterior compartment of thigh, laterally by the biceps femoris and medially by the semimembranosus and semitendinosus. Below, they are bounded by muscles of the posterior compartment of leg or the calf muscles. They are laterally, they are gastrocnemius and plantaris, and on the medial side there is the medial head of the gastrocnemius. On the lateral side there is the lateral head of the gastrocnemius, and on the medial side there is the medial head of the gastrocnemius. Now the anterior wall or the floor of the fossa and the roof of the fossa. See here, the anterior wall or the floor of the fossa is formed by the popliteal surface of the femur. This is the popliteal surface of the femur, and there is the posterior ligament of the knee joint or the popliteofibular ligament which is present along with the popliteus muscle. See here, this is the anterior wall or the floor of the popliteal fossa. What are the contents? Number 1, the popliteal surface of the femur. Number 2, the posterior ligament of the knee joint or the popliteofibular ligament. And number 3, the popliteus muscle. The roof is formed by the skin, superficial fascia and the deep fascia of the thigh. Now we will discuss about the popliteus muscle. We will discuss this muscle in the lecture of the posterior compartment of leg also. Okay, the popliteus muscle plays a key role in the movement of the knee joint. It is originated from the lateral surface of the lateral condyle of the femur. See here, this is femur and this is the lateral side. Okay, and the popliteus muscle is originated from the lateral condyle of the femur by a rounded tendon. This is a rounded tendon. Then it is inserted over the medial side. See here, it is going downwards and medially and attached to the posterior surface of the tibia above the soleal line. Okay, on the soleal line there will be a muscle which is attached, which is soleus muscle. Okay, so on the posterior surface of the tibia it is attached above the soleal line. The nerve is tibial nerve, which is supplying the popliteus muscle, and action is the medial rotation of the tibia on the fibula. Okay, so this is a muscle which is present in the popliteal fossa. Now, another content of the popliteal fossa is the popliteal artery. See here, this red colored artery is the popliteal artery, which is deeply placed, and it enters the popliteal fossa through an opening in the adductor magnus muscle. Okay, see here, this is the adductor magnus muscle opening, and this popliteal artery is coming out, or it is crossing this opening, and it is the continuation of the femoral artery. See here, this is the femoral artery, and the popliteal artery is continued from the femoral artery. It ends at the level of the lower border of the popliteus muscle by dividing into two arteries. See here, it will divide into two arteries. One is anterior tibial artery and the another one is the posterior tibial artery. So again I will repeat, the popliteal artery, it is deeply placed. It enters the popliteal fossa through the opening in the adductor magnus muscle as a continuation of the femoral artery. It ends at the lower level of the popliteus muscle by dividing into two arteries, which are anterior tibial artery and the posterior tibial artery. Now, what are the relations of the popliteal artery? Anteriorly, we have the popliteal surface of the femur, the knee joint and the popliteus muscle, and posteriorly you can see here the popliteal vein and the tibial nerve and fascia and skin, they are present here. Okay, this is the posterior surface of the popliteal fossa or the posterior surface of the knee joint. So you can see the posterior relations of the popliteal artery in this diagram. We have the popliteal vein and tibial nerve behind it or posterior to it. Okay, how many branches are there for the popliteal artery? The popliteal artery has muscular branches and it has articular branches to the knee joint because it is crossing the knee joint, so it will supply the knee joint. See here in this diagram also, this is tibial nerve and this is the common peroneal nerve. This is popliteal vein and this is popliteal artery. These are the posterior relations. The popliteal vein and the tibial nerve, they are present posterior to the popliteal artery. See this diagram, this is the anterior part and this is the posterior part. Okay, see the popliteal artery. Okay, this is the popliteal vein and there is the tibial nerve which is present here. Okay, tibial nerve. The popliteal artery will divide into two branches. This is anterior tibial artery. There will be anterior tibial artery here and there is posterior tibial artery. See here, this is anterior tibial and this is the posterior tibial artery. See in this diagram, you can see the popliteus muscle. This is popliteus muscle here. This is popliteal artery which is dividing into anterior tibial artery and this is the posterior tibial artery. Okay, this is tibial nerve which will also divide into many branches. Now, what is popliteal aneurysm? The pulsations of the wall of the femoral artery against the tendon of the adductor magnus at the opening of the adductor magnus is thought to contribute to the cause of the popliteal aneurysm. Okay. What is semimembranosus bursa swelling? You can see here there are many bursa which are present. This is the anterior part of the knee joint and this is the posterior part of the knee joint or the popliteal fossa. You can see here many bursa anteriorly. This is suprapatellar bursa. This is subcutaneous prepatellar bursa. This is subcutaneous infrapatellar bursa. This is deep infrapatellar bursa. Okay, and this is subsartorial bursa, that is below the sartorius muscle or the pes anserinus bursa, and there is another bursa which is named as semimembranosus bursa. So sometimes what happens, there is semimembranosus bursa swelling, which is the most common swelling found in the popliteal space. It is made tense by extending the knee joint and become flaccid when the joint is flexed. It should be distinguished from the Baker's cyst, which is centrally located and arises as a osteoarthritis or the pathological diverticulum of the synovial membrane through a hole in the back of the capsule of the knee joint. So this is semimembranosus bursa. This swelling can be present in the popliteal space. It can be made tense by extending the knee joint, and it can be made flaccid by flexing the knee joint. Okay, it should be distinguished from the Baker's cyst. Now we will discuss about the popliteal vein. See here, this is femoral vein. Okay, femoral vein is draining in the external iliac vein, and the popliteal vein is draining in the femoral vein. See here, this is popliteal vein in the popliteal fossa. It is formed by the junction of the veiny concomitants of the anterior tibial vein and the posterior tibial vein. See here, these are two veins which are draining in the popliteal vein. One is anterior tibial and one is posterior tibial vein. Okay, so these are the venicomitants of the anterior tibial and the posterior tibial arteries at the lower border of the popliteus muscle on the medial side of the popliteal artery. Remember this thing, the popliteal vein will be on the medial side of the popliteal artery. As it ascends through the fossa, it crosses behind the popliteal artery so that it comes to lie on its lateral side. So what we have learned, that first of all, the popliteal vein will be on the medial side of the popliteal artery, then it will become posterior to the popliteal artery, and then it will become on the lateral side of the popliteal artery. It passes through the opening in the adductor magnus muscle to become the femoral vein. Okay, so what are the tributaries of the popliteal vein? The veins which correspond to the branches given off by the popliteal artery. For example, the venicomitants of the anterior tibial artery and the posterior tibial artery, along with the small saphenous vein. See here, the small saphenous vein which perforate the deep fascia and which passes between the two heads of the gastrocnemius muscle to end in the popliteal vein. See here, this is small saphenous vein. It will pass between the two heads of the gastrocnemius muscle, which are the muscles of the posterior compartment of leg, and it will drain, or it will be continued as the popliteal vein in the popliteal fossa, and the popliteal vein will drain in the femoral vein, which will be continued as the external iliac vein. Now the popliteal lymph nodes. See here, about 6 lymph nodes are embedded in the fatty connective tissue of the popliteal fossa. They receive the superficial lymph vessels from the lateral side of the foot and the leg. They also receive lymph from the knee joint, from the deep lymph vessels which are accompanying the anterior and posterior tibial arteries. Okay, so remember all these lymphatic drainage. Now we will discuss about the nerves which are present in the popliteal fossa. As we have discussed that there are two nerves which are the branches of the sciatic nerve. One is tibial nerve, which is the larger terminal branch of the sciatic nerve, and one is common peroneal nerve, which is the smaller terminal branch of the sciatic nerve. So first we will discuss about the tibial nerve. Tibial nerve is the larger terminal branch of the sciatic nerve. It arises in the lower third of the thigh. See here, it is arising at the lower third of the thigh. It runs downward through the popliteal fossa, lying first on the lateral side of the popliteal artery, then it becomes posterior to the popliteal artery, and finally it becomes on the medial side of the popliteal artery. The popliteal vein lies between the nerve and the artery throughout its course. The nerve enters the posterior compartment of leg by passing beneath the soleus muscle. Remember this muscle, this is the muscle of the posterior compartment of leg. So what we have learned, that tibial nerve is the larger terminal branch of the sciatic nerve. It arises in the lower third of the thigh. It downwards and passes through the popliteal fossa. It lies first on the lateral side of the popliteal artery. See here, this is the lateral side of the popliteal artery. Then it becomes posterior to the popliteal artery, and then it will become on the medial side, or it will be on the medial side of the popliteal popliteal artery. Then what is the relation of the tibial nerve with the popliteal vein? The popliteal vein lies between the tibial nerve and the popliteal artery throughout its course. Okay, the tibial nerve enters the posterior compartment of the leg by passing beneath the soleus muscle. Okay, now the branches of the tibial nerve. How many branches are there? Number one is the cutaneous branch. Remember, the name of the cutaneous branch of the tibial nerve is the sural nerve. It descends between the two heads of the gastrocnemius muscle, and it is usually joined by the sural communicating branch of the common peroneal nerve. That is, we have two nerves. One is common peroneal nerve and one is tibial nerve. Both these nerves will give the sural branch, and these sural branches of the tibial nerve and the common peroneal nerve, they will be joined together. These are the cutaneous branches. Then there are muscular branches which supply both heads of the gastrocnemius muscle. One is lateral head and one is the medial head of the gastrocnemius, along with the plantaris muscle, the soleus muscle and the popliteus muscle. These are the muscles of the calf of the leg or the posterior compartment of the leg. Okay, so these are the muscular branches. Then there are articular branches. Articular branches which supply the joint. So it supplies the knee joint. As it crosses the knee joint, so it supplies the knee joint. Okay, so this is the information about the tibial nerve. Now the common peroneal nerve. See here, this is common peroneal nerve. Okay, common peroneal nerve is the smaller terminating branch of the sciatic nerve. It also arises in the lower third of the thigh. Okay, it arises in the lower third of the thigh. It runs downward through the popliteal fossa, closely following the medial border of the biceps femoris muscle. See here in this diagram, this is biceps femoris muscle, which is the lateral muscle of the posterior compartment of thigh. So this common peroneal nerve lies on the medial border of the biceps femoris muscle. It leaves the fossa by crossing superficially the lateral head of the gastrocnemius muscle. See here, this is the gastrocnemius muscle lateral head. So it passes and it exits the popliteal fossa by passing the lateral head of the gastrocnemius muscle. It then passes behind the head of fibula. Remember this point, that the common peroneal nerve passes behind the head of the fibula. It winds laterally around the neck of the fibula. It pierces the peroneus longus muscle, which is the lateral muscle. Okay, and it divides into two terminal branches. One is superficial peroneal nerve and one is deep peroneal nerve. This information is very, very important. It will be asked in your exam. Okay, what is the route? It leaves the fossa by crossing superficially the lateral head of the gastrocnemius muscle. It passes behind the head of fibula. It winds around the neck of fibula. It pierces the peroneus longus muscle, which is the muscle of the lateral compartment of leg, and it divides into two terminal branches. One is superficial peroneal nerve, which is the nerve of the lateral compartment of leg, and one is deep peroneal nerve, which is the nerve of the anterior compartment of leg. As the nerve lies on the lateral aspect of the neck of the fibula, it is subcutaneous and can easily be rolled against the bone. Okay, it can be easily rolled against the bone, which is fibula. Now, what are the branches of the common peroneal nerve? As I have told earlier, there is the cutaneous branch, which is named as sural communicating branch, which will join with the sural nerve of the tibial nerve. Then there is the lateral cutaneous nerve of the calf. Then there is the muscular branch, which will supply the short head of the biceps femoris muscle, and articular branches to the knee joint, because it crosses the knee joint, so it will supply the knee joint. Now, this is the most important point, common peroneal nerve injury. It is extremely vulnerable to injury as it winds around the neck of fibula. In exam, you will be asked that which is the nerve which is injured or which is damaged around the neck of fibula. At this site, it is exposed to direct trauma, or it is involved in the fracture of the upper part of the fibula, and when it is injured, it will cause foot drop. Okay, remember this thing, it will cause foot drop. See here in this diagram, this is common peroneal nerve. It is divided into superficial peroneal, okay, which will supply the peroneus longus and the peroneus brevis muscle. And this is deep peroneal nerve, which is the nerve of the anterior compartment of the leg. So these are two